Welcome aboard everyone, Simon here from the Wells of Wall Street. Hope you're doing well. We are going to do a quick update here on Bepro, previously Bet Protocol, so that's BEPRO on the exchange. When we go into the chart, it will be on the KuCoin database. But before we do that, just a very quick announcement here from Bepro in the last few hours. So this is relating to an announcement that was put out there on Twitter, etc. Last year. So saying basically to developers to keep an eye out for next few days. So that has come around. So this is allowing developers to go onto the testnet of Bepro before the massive mainnet launch, in Q4. And when this occurs, I do believe that the price will soar for sure. That rhymes. So there's 10,000 Bepro for each developer that gets involved in helping do the public testnet release of the network. So really exciting, and I love the community engagement aspect of Bepro, and just around its coding and aspects like this. I mean, we've got a couple of videos out there of why we're bullish on Bepro and the intro to Bepro. So go and check those out. We'll leave links to those at the end of this video, and you'll see all the great things that are potentially coming in the next couple of months that I truly believe will take Bepro to those next levels, not only in the price of the chart but as a project as well. It's really exciting. So this is just thought I'd throw this out there just to show you what these guys are trying to do in the background to make this work, and it's actually brilliant, giving a nice community feel to it, and developers, maybe even new developers. This is encouraging a new level of people. All the people that come out of school and this, that and the other, looking for opportunities, developer opportunities that are really interested in coding and development, JavaScript, all this cool stuff. How cool is that to get involved in something like this so early in your potential career, as well as people who've been doing this for years, of course, as well. You need both the experience and the fresh-eyed approach, in my opinion. And that's the same with any or most work outlets as well. So guys, that's a quick update on Bepro. Let's go into the chart and see where we are. First of all, if you haven't done so already, smash that like button if you're finding this interesting, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already, or you are new to the channel. We welcome you to here, and we hope you enjoy the engagement and the content that we are throwing out at you guys on a consistent basis. Haven't done as many videos in the last few days as we'd like to, but work is piling up in the real world, of course, and this is, of course, at the moment, a very cool hobby of ours. We, of course, maybe one day, just one day, have so many subscribers that we can just partially retire and do this for you guys all day long. Love it. From a boat, obviously. So guys, let's look at Bepro. Right. Okay. So from the previous video, a couple of updates here, of course. We managed to hit the second buy point, if you remember. We were quite excited about that because I know it's not sounding like a lot, but we always want to try and accumulate as much as we can. So we've had some areas where we sold off throughout this big period here, and we're taking advantage of some buying opportunities on the way down. A lot of my Bepro personally is in KuCoin staking. I was very fortunate to get hold of it. I have a feeling it ends in October actually, and I'm not sure whether the new batch or new opportunity of window will be available, or if that's it. Maybe that's it, and then I'll just have to focus it somewhere else, or through Bepro directly or something. I'll have to check that out, and we'll probably cover that in the next update, because I do believe the staking window closes in October. So it might give an opportunity for more people to get involved in that at a later stage, whether the APR or the APY changes a bit or not, or if it's available at all. We'll have to find out. But back to this chart, guys. So where are we now with Bepro? Well, in my opinion, right now, it's quite interesting. So obviously the MACD here, I'm just going to zoom in. What I love about this right now is this has really narrowed. Okay, so I feel like we're coming towards the end of the sell-off, and that's kind of looking, if you look here on the histogram, and don't get me wrong, we've had a similar repeated pattern here, but of course we've had a couple of Bitcoin nonsense days and things like that. But I don't think people realize it's not until you kind of look out, right, of where we've kind of come from and why this is happening. Because yes, okay, we've got some historic data back here in the earlier part of the year, But we've got a long way to go before we start pushing that previous all-time high, which is all the way up here, I believe 4.7 cents. So we're right now at the moment trading at 0.6 cents, guys. So we're quite a way off here still. But look at things from the outer sphere of the charts, because right now it's like, oh, this is going, no, it's terrible, it's awful. But actually, no, it's not. First of all, we'll probably tail off hopefully in the next few days, if not for next week, before we start pulling ourselves up, for sure. We've had a good retracement. So just take it from that top level here of 1.7 cents and just take it down to where we are currently, or where we have been. We've had a good 60% off. People were laughing at me for saying, like, why do you keep saying like 30 to 70%? Well, the reason I say 30 to 70% reduction is not only does it cover me to make me not look silly if it doesn't happen, but no, being serious, guys, like, it depends on where we are in the chart. But for me, I always do anticipate up to 70%, and that's pretty much nearly bang on. That's not to say that right now we might come down a bit lower to test these lower regions, because we did have a massive shoot up here, and like I said, we only have a small amount of possible points here to test as current new support lines. So it was intriguing to see us hit that buy area. I could have gone lower, obviously, but I'm happy with this business, of course. But yeah, it just proves that when you have this kind of increase and you have maybe a bit of a trap here and then another rise, you get that little J movement here. Can you see it? That's kind of like an indication that you just got to be cautious that something's going to switch over eventually. And that, of course, did happen. So this is kind of playing out as we thought it would. And if you think about it, actually, that it's not come low as did back here. In order for us to come back down here or around these regions again, is to hit nearer the all-time highs and find price discovery mode before we do start coming in. And what you'll start seeing is a line, essentially, of like a little, let me just draw it in so you know what I'm talking about, is if you see this kind of aspect here, so when you've eventually risen, let's say we take this to the end of the year, you would anticipate at least maybe 78% reduction. So let's, for argument's sake, say we managed to get over the 10 cent mark, 70% off that, you're looking way back down here again. But it's not as depressing as you think it is, because actually the lows are higher each time. So we're talking about quite an advanced here. Let's take it back to the macro level for a second and really just justify what's going on here. So what we want to see here, guys, is the completion of the sell-off, to be honest. And I do think you can see we're trying to attack a lower area each time. And there are some instances over the last week or so where we've retaliated and tried to push that up as a new support line around this sort of 7.3 cent mark. Today has been a bit of a dive, but it has retraced relatively well. So I'm really interested to see how this kind of plays out. One thing I will do quickly as well, actually, while we've got this chart on here, if I just readjust this quickly, I think it's pretty much in alignment anyway, but we'll just take it back to this most recent area here. Yeah, this kind of, that looks a bit better now. So it's like we're trying to basically reject this area around here, 0.0061, so 0.61 cents, okay? So this is being rejected here on the 21st. Today it looks like we tried to dip down, but we couldn't quite get there. So there's good positives to take from this, and it is kind of almost indicating that we're possibly nearing that element of trying to push ourselves up. How can we also analyze that? So we just did mention about the MACD narrowing, which is really good to see, but this histogram's looking even more positive, because the selling volume is really reducing now, and we could start seeing a switch over, maybe, just maybe, by the end of this week. It's going to be really interesting to see that tail up, and it would be so good to see us test these 0.8 marks and essentially the 1 cent mark back up here again. If we can have that nice wave up, like, let me just draw it in so you know what I'm talking about, and just take this with a pinch of salt in this aspect, that it's not going to follow it exactly, but you could start seeing maybe a tail off down to here before we do start seeing a nice little wavy pattern up towards here. Don't get me wrong, we could start this area here could be a potential resistance line. That's why we drew it in previously. We might get a bit of a bounce off that, but as I previously just mentioned, is that we could potentially be looking at a situation. I don't know what's happened here. Go away. Where we get that resistance, we may take a bit of profit taking, but it won't come as low as here again. In my opinion, we'll start seeing this nice wavy pattern up towards trying to get that previous all-time high and smash through it. I truly believe that by the end of November and into December, we will be beyond this 4.7. I have good aspirations with Bepro in this year as well as in the future. And even on this fib retracement, it's suggesting around about 20 cents. And I do think that's realistic, especially with the Q4 roadmap. I'm honestly really so bullish about that Q4 roadmap. And I know a lot of you out there are as well. You're get a lot of people in the chat saying like, it's this coin and that coin. But guys, all you have to do is learn about the project, do your own research. You'll see why it's so important, this asset, and what it's going to do. It's a really massive development program within cryptosphere. The RSI at the moment is relatively low. Could it come lower? Yep, I could possibly stick it out for maybe a 35 mark. It might even actually put a cheeky move in here, maybe like 5.9 cents. I'll have to think about that one. But if someone said to me, like, is this a good chance to buy something? Well, I'd be saying, well, yes. You're limiting the risk by in this RSI aspect, and even if you put it on a higher ratio, it would be a similar story. But yeah, of course it could come down slightly, but it is a reduction in the risk. And as long as you're taking profits along the way, on the way up, and accumulating on the way down in a similar fashion, or accumulating in dips for future references and things like that, you can't really go wrong in that aspect, And also the principle of, invest in what you can afford. Don't invest what you can't afford to lose, if that makes sense. That's a really good narrative to go through as well. None of this is financial advice, obviously. It's just our opinion and our thoughts on what we're doing. And that's not to say to follow it, because everyone's got their own different strategy, right? But I just think, like, from the analysis we've done, I truly believe Bepro is going to be fantastic this year, and certainly in the future as well. So this critical area, I truly believe by the end of this week, we're going to start seeing maybe some movement upwards, in my opinion, and that MACD switching over, unless Bitcoin throws another fish in the sea and we go a bit mentally down a bit further. But like I said, that would take us down possibly to that 70% mark. And actually, to be fair, I wonder if it is worth actually me potentially putting in at least one around that 0.0059. I'm going to put a little drawing around here just to think, see if that happens. But I'm not going to put one in myself, but I'm just really intrigued to see if we do hit that area and potentially tick off that up to 70% mark before we come back up. And maybe that will happen at the end of this week. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Let us know if you're holding Bepro, what you think of Bepro. Whether you like it or not, I'm interested to hear both sides. But if you're going to say it's this coin and that coin, you're obviously not going to use the actual word you're using. Explain to me why. Tell me why. Because all I've heard and seen in the comments is they say that. I reply by saying, why do you think that? And then I don't get a response. So let me know. Vice versa. Thanks guys for watching. We'll see you and hopefully Bepro on the moon soon. Take care and bye bye.